And I'm like, the other color. That makes sense, right? Like all our R&B,
They're starting to get.
like, it was all green. I'm like, next time we come through, I'm like, even if it's next week. You can still
Round
pick up
up.
and change it and stuff. So I'm ready for it, so. Yeah. I've been very good this year. Rich. And I know I don't.
Okay, it's your 1 minute warning. Everybody start finding your seats. Get ready.
Right.
I'm trying. One pen.
Okay, call the meeting to order. In lieu of a prayer this morning, I would like to ask for a moment of silence. We've lost a couple of people in the past couple of days. Captain Eugene McKenna, from the Sheriff's Department. Very unexpected, and Sandy Huffer's mother, Joan Dorigano. So if we just have a moment of silence for those two people, please. Mr. O'Brien. Please also silence your cell phone. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky,
Here.
Mrs. Fedler,
Here.
Mr. Ferguson,
Here.
Mr. Shaw,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. Fisher,
Here.
Mr. Hicks, Mr. Nolan, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Half,
Here.
Mr. Campbell,
Here.
Mr. Skelly, Mr. Hogan,
Here.
Mr. Wilson, Mrs. Clary, here, Mr. Griffith, Mr. Rozell.
Thank you. When's our public hearing scheduled for? 5 after?
Yes.
Okay, you don't want to start the public hearing ahead of time, so let's move on to condensed minutes. You've got the minutes of the July 31st, 2023 meeting in your packet. I will consider them accepted as mailed unless there's any additions or corrections. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, we'll consider them accepted. Communications?
No communication.
You're not helping me with the 5 minutes here.
No communications.
Okay, committee reports, audit committee. Audit committee. Moving Mr. O'Brien, there's second. Ferguson, Shaw, Hall, Fisher. Excuse me, Clary, Griffith, and Nolan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
There's on a roll call, take more time. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we'll start the process for the public hearing, read the notice, then I'll call it earlier.
Notice of public hearing, Board of Supervisors, County of Washington, State of New York, proposed extension of Washington County Sewer District Number 1. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Washington in the Supervisors Chambers, County Office Building B, Fort Edward, New York, on August 18th, 2023 at 10:05 a.m. concerning a petition and map, plan, and report for the extension of Washington County Sewer District Number 1, located in the town of Kingsbury, Washington County, New York. The petition and map plan and report is on file with the Clerk of the Board of Supervisors and may be viewed for inspection during business hours of 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday, holiday office closure not included, at the Washington County Clerk's Office, 383 Broadway, Fort Edward, New York. The plan of dissolution is also available on the Washington County website. The description of the proposed extension is as follows. The improvements proposed to be made are inspection and re-inspection of manholes, clean manholes, replacing manhole frames and covers, rehabilitate chimney channel inverts, manholes, cured in place lining, reconnections of service and service line sewer line replacements. The cost and maximum amount of the improvements is estimated to be $1,571,000. The cost to the typical property is estimated to be $117 to $18,387 based on table 5-4 of the map plan and report. The proposed method of assessment is by class, description, units, and commercial and residential metered water consumption. All persons interested in the subject matter of proposed extension of Washington County Sewer District Number 1 will be heard at that time and place concerning the same. By order of the Board of Supervisors.
Unfortunately, you guys have written such a complex public hearing notice that it's got us to 10:05, so I'll declare the public meeting open. Perfect, smooth timing. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak on the matter of the sewer district? Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this subject? Asking for a third time, is there anyone that wishes to be heard at this public hearing? Having called for public comment 3 times and received none, I will declare the public hearing closed at 10:06. Next is a happier thing. We have Anna Maxwell, the Washington County Dairy Princess.
Good morning. Okay, perfect. You can hear me. I just want to make sure. Good morning. My name's Anna Maxwell. I'm really happy to be with all of you here today. As previously announced, I'm the Washington County Dairy Princess. I go to school in the Salem School District. So hi, Mrs. Clary. But I live in the town of Jackson, and Mr. Sally can't be with us today, but we'll say a word for him anyways. I just wanted to formally invite each and every one of you to the milking contest, which is at the Washington County Fair on August 26th at 6 p.m. Hopefully you all got invites in your mailboxes. I hand wrote them myself, so I really hope they made it to all of you. I also just wanted to let you know that we really appreciate your support of the dairy industry in each and every one of your towns. And also that our Dairy Princess organization has been up to a lot of really great things at the start of the year. I've just been indicted, I suppose, as the Dairy Princess, but already our team has been to lots of school districts and visited lots of classrooms and been in lots of parades, whether it's for the 4th of July or Memorial Day. And I personally went to Lunch, Learn, and Play, which is something that we put on at the Salem Courthouse, and visited some classes there. And each and every one of the girls has done something in their own way, whether keeping up with the social media posts or advocating out to the people in our towns. And we just really appreciate what you do behind the scenes. So that being said, I brought some chocolate milk for all of you, and I'll pass it around and say something to each of you. And I think that's all I have for today, but thank you very much for having me, and I hope you have a good rest of your summer.
I wondered.
I'm free to see.
thanks, Roger. The lunch, learn, and play in the school in Salem is so lucky. All the little girls think they have the best princess in the county, and that would be Anna. And she teaches them about the differences between cows and agriculture. So I can't thank her enough. She's a sweetheart. So thanks, Anna.
Yes.
Okay, supervisor's privilege. Anybody going privilege? Okay, I've got one, Merle.
Hello, working?
Did-
Okay.
Did you bring your timer? Or are we using mine?
I think I'll be under 5. I just got too big. Hello, I know I'm a month late, but congratulations. I assume you all won your reelection. Can anybody win by double digits? I realize this was just a primary vote, but in this county, you win the primary, you are assured the general. In Argyle, there were 4 electoral officials there getting paid by the county. I was the only citizen at the time there to vote. You want to cut government spending. How about doing away with all these off year elections that I have to pay for? The turnout for the school board election was 9% statewide. What was this for this election? You do not mind cutting costs. Example, closing the infirmary, shutting down the transfer station, stopping the recycling program in this county. What's next? The highway department? My grandfather used to keep a part of 43 open during the winter in lieu of tax. It took me 2 days just to do my driveway. After our last snowstorm, I can tell you that this Route 43 will be closed for a week for me to get out and clean the snow. Thank you again, and I also am glad you all won such a hard-won re-election. Thank you, and have a nice day. Under five,
Yeah,
I'll reserve my time.
pretty good. Well, I'll trade you. If 43 gets blocked, I'll come plow it for you. I say if 43 gets blocked, I'll come plow it for you. Don't worry.
Can I have that in writing?
It's on the record, Merle. Okay, any other privilege of the floor? Seeing none, we'll move on to introducing the resolutions. Clerk will read the resolves only, starting with resolution number 246.
Resolution number 246 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, titled to transfer funds to capital plan and amend budget. Resolved, the county treasurer is hereby authorized to amend the following budgets: capital project H-125, capital improvement plan, increased revenue interfund transfers, 564,115. Increase appropriations, number 3, LEC RTU replacement, 319,700. Chiller replacement, 586,500. Decrease appropriation contingency, 342,085.
Thank you. Can we move on to consideration of resolution, please?
Resolution number 228 by Supervisors Skelly, O'Brien, Shaw, Wilson, Hall, titled to sign agreement with Empire State Development to accept incentive funding as part of capital project number 133 Sewer District number 1 rehabilitation replacement.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Shaw, Hall, Fisher, Campbell. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 229 by Supervisors Clary, Fedler, Skelly, Wilson, Nolan, titled to authorize out-of-state travel, Department of Social Services.
Moved by Supervisor Clary, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Campbell, Wilson, and Nolan. Discussion on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 230 by Supervisors Clary, Fedler, Skelly, Wilson, Nolan, titled to approve the Tri-County Workforce Development Board budget for program year 23.
Moved by Supervisor Clary, is there a second? Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Campbell, Wilson, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 231 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, title amend staffing pattern for Department of Social Services for reclassified position.
Moving resolution 231.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Larry, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 232 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, title amend staffing pattern IT for project engineer.
Moving resolution 232.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Larry, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 233 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, title amend staffing pattern sheriff for part-time special patrol officer.
Moving resolution number 233.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Wilson, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 234 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, title amend staffing pattern youth bureau for program specialists.
Moving resolution number 234.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 235 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Half, O'Brien, Clary, title to make appointment to the Washington County Fire Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 235.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Campbell, Hogan, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 236 by Supervisors Skelly, O'Brien, Shaw, Wilson, Hall, title to make application to and sign agreement with Empire State Development to accept incentive funding Sewer District Number 2 Rehabilitation Replacement in Hudson Falls.
Moved by Supervisor O'Brien, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 237 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Bedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend mental health budget for 100% state aid cost of living adjustments.
Moving resolution number 237.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 238 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Bedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend mental health budget for 100% state aid for addiction recovery centers.
Moving resolution 238.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 239 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Bedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend budget Sewer District Number 2, increase appropriation for purchase a truck.
Moving resolution number 239.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Nolan. Discussion. Surprised Supervisor Campbell introduced that since it wasn't an electric truck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 240 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Bedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend budget public health to purchase vaccine refrigerator.
Moving resolution number 240.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Larry, and Nolan. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 241 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Bedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend the title by grade schedule to create new title of Aging Services Specialist and the staffing pattern for Office for the Aging and DSS.
Moving resolution 241.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Fedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Larry, and Nolan. Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Mr. Hanky,
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw, Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Nolan, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Half, Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Hogan,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Clary, Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, 3,708 yes, 982 absent.
Mr. Hall and Mr. Campbell, turn off your mics, so we're gonna get some feedback. There you go.
Resolution number 242 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Bedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend the title by grade schedule to create the title of Secretary to Probation Director and amend staffing pattern.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Bedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Wilson, Clary, and Noland. Any discussion? This is also a roll call.
Mr. Hanky,
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Nolan, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Half, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Clary, Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, 3,708 yes, 982 absent. Resolution number 243 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, titled to declare Dominion voting machines in the Board of Elections surplus and offer to school districts within Washington County.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Bedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Noland. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 244 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, title amend budget sheriff for Project Lifesaver Program.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell, second. Bedler, Ferguson, Hall, Fisher, Clary, and Noland. Discussion. This is a great program. We wish this was funded about 3 times that amount of money. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 245 by Supervisor Skelly, Roselle, Half, O'Brien, Shaw, Wilson, Fisher, title Resolution Approving Extension of Washington County Sewer District Number 1.
Moving 245.
Moved by Supervisor Half, second. Bedler, Ferguson, Shaw, Hall, Fisher, Campbell, and Noland. Discussion. Mr. Half.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question on section 1.3. I think it's an engineering question. I think, is there an engineer? It says that the average rate is about 21,000 gallons of usage, but on some days it goes up to 70,000 gallons. Meaning maybe infiltration, but you don't state any gallonage of infiltration. Can you estimate what that infiltration is? Is it 50,000 gallons a day? More? Is it more than the customers flush or?
If this is a long-term answer, can you come to the mic so we can? Otherwise, it doesn't get, our transcriptionist doesn't get it.
I'll ask my question again as he walks forward. My question is basically, is the infiltration more than the customers are using?
Yeah, so what we did, for the record, my name is Chris Pierce. I'm with Wright Pierce Engineers. So we looked at the water consumption data that was provided by the county. We also had runtime data for the sewer pump station by the airport. So we compared the data, that's the amount of water being pumped from that pump station to the water consumption. So that pump station is pumping anywhere from 40 to 80,000 gallons a day, depending on the time of year and whether it's raining and things. So yes, anything above that 20,000 gallons is most likely either infiltration or inflow. And typically, if you use 20,000 gallons a day, not all of that's going to make it into the sewer. Some of that is consumed. So it may be 15,000 or 18,000 gallons a day that would be getting into the sewer. So.
But could some of the clients have heavy days of usage?
Oh, definitely.
The crux of my question is, in order to fix this, if I go to table 4.1 about the slip line, the in-place line,
Yes.
it's $100 a foot for an 8-inch pipe. Will the cost to slip line $835,000. Will that pay itself back? Or would it be cheaper just to let it go?
Well, I think there are other issues with the capacity that's allowed to be sent to Queensberry and on to Glens Falls. And I don't know if Joe or Matt can speak to that more.
How long does it take to make back $835,000? I was shocked at the price of $100 a foot, but I imagine that includes everything else. It isn't just the linear foot, it's all the other associated costs.
Yeah, I don't know that we've got a specific number run for the payoff of the difference in the electrical cost of the pump station and the wear and tear on the pump station versus the slip lining. For the record, Matt Fuller with Meyer, Fuller and Stockwell representing the district. But I think the assumption with the commissioners and even staff and at the engineering level is it's not even close, to answer you, Mr. Half. And to what Chris was saying, the amount that we are pumping to Queensberry and which then goes on to the Glens Falls plant is on their radar. You know, we're above our capacities of usage that we should be pumping to them. And no different than, you know, with our sewer plant, we've got a combined sewer system. You know, we have to eliminate I&I every time we get the opportunity. Glens Falls and Queensberry, they've been polite. Joe could weigh in. They've been polite over the years, but you know, more and more over the last couple of years, it's come up in conversations that we need to eliminate that I&I because that pump station is running so much. And to your point, your end question about the cost, the users in sewer district number 1 are paying that. Queensberry is passing that cost of the pump station running, the electrical costs. They're passing that cost up the line to our users. We do have probably 8 or so users that are in the Warren County side, on that side of Queensberry Avenue. But the thought and the intent is we're complying not only with a legal issue, which is eliminating that I&I to that pump station, but yes, a cost issue. The hope is that the debt cost to pay this off and the O&M on that pump station will largely offset themselves, if not gain a little bit for the users.
10 years? What do you think is your payback?
We didn't.
It's
run
got to
it.
be a long time.
Yeah. I think that's a reasonable assumption, 10, 15 years.
Because the construction project is a little over 1 million,
Yeah.
but 83% of that is this slip lining for the I&I.
Yeah, the cost to replace those pipes would be astronomical. We're probably at,
$500 a foot.
yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what your report said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, any other comment? Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, I think from what they just said, I think the other thing that you gotta remember is the more that you keep out of that, the less wear and tear on what's already there. And so longer time before you replace everything else. I think it's the big picture here, not just the one price, the one item at the one price.
Yeah, but it's cheaper to replace something than to maintain it and replace it. So the wear and tear on the machinery, as long as there's a payback, if there's never gonna be a payback, let the machinery wear and tear.
Well,
Further discussion? Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 246 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Fedler, Hogan, Clary, titled to transfer funds to capital plan and amend budget.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Is there a second? Fedler, Ferguson, Fisher, Hall, Clary, and Noland. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That concludes the resolutions. Supervisors' comments. Mr. Hall.
Yes, Chairman, I would just like to make people aware that Ed Sherrill, a longtime member of the Fortean Volunteer Fire Department, who started out as a volunteer fireman, then as he got older, continued his service by working with the fire police, and most notably, his role that he has played over the years as a counselor for those first responders in organizations that are volunteer that have gone through the tragedy of dealing with some of the things they have to deal with when they respond to calls, has passed away. His funeral service is going to be today with the motorcade starting here at Carlton Funeral Home and proceeding to the village cemetery in Fort Anne. And then I would also like to ask to keep both Ed's family and Ed and all of the individuals affected by the tragedy in Fort Anne of the youth that was shot by another youth this past Wednesday, I believe it was. That has had a major effect on a lot of the children that went to school with both of the boys, and certainly with the families and parents realizing how fortunate they are that it wasn't their children that could have been in that situation. So, thank you.
Anybody else?
Amongst other activities that they have to do next week. And I probably won't be for an open contest without my own help. But yes.
Paul, do you- Mr. Campbell.
So, yeah, I want to mention there. And also, so that they know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think- Well, that was on the record too. All right. Any other supervisors' comments? Oh, Mr. Shaw.
I just want to remind everyone again that I did it at the last meeting at the grand opening of the fair starts at 5 o'clock, and all the supervisors received a personal invitation to your home address. So please, if you can, come to that. It means a lot to the youth of the fair. They come and put on quite a presentation, and they're our future directors of the fair. So let's encourage them with all their hard work and show them our support.
Yeah.
For the record, when I do comments, I start from left to right, and then I go back from right to left. So yeah, I get you all. But if you're concerned about who goes first, that's how I do it. If you want me to change next month, I can go right to left and then back. Because some of you were very kind of slow on the uptake, and it takes a while. Anybody, Mr. Half, do you have any comments? Okay, I do. I will start off somber. You see, I'm wearing my dark suit again. It seems like I've had this thing on for the past 6 months or so. We lost Captain Gene McKenna from the Sheriff's Department. Gene's services are Monday, 3 to 7 at the Whitehall School Auditorium. And the funeral is 11 a.m. Monday at the Catholic Church. I can't remember what the name of the Catholic Church was, on Wheeler Avenue up there. And I also wanted to mention an Argyle fellow, Dave Cornell. Grew up there. He went in the military. He went to Wanakina Ranger School, became a Forest Ranger, which I did not hold against him. He's got kids in our school over there, really decent fellow, and he took his own life here a while ago. His funeral is right after this. I'm running down to it in Greenwich. I don't know what the circumstances were there, but I do know that my agency that I used to work for has lost 3 people to suicide in the past, 18 months. And there's more stresses and enforcement jobs than people realize, and this is just eating us up. And this particular one is eating me up because he's a real decent guy, even though he was a forest ranger. And our sympathies to our Secretary Sandy Huffer, who just lost her mother. Sandy has been a caregiver for quite a while, and having done that, I commend her extensively for that, and really extend our sympathy to Sandy. Now, try and be a little more positive here, and encourage everybody. I hope to see you at the opening ceremony of the fair at 1 o'clock. Down there, it makes a big deal. I'll try and make sure everybody gets introduced. For many years, in fact, until I became chairman, I was overlooked every single year. That whoever was up there going through would go through and forget me. So I'll try and take a list up ahead of time, make sure we get you all unannounced, but if I don't see you, wave to me, and we'll get you on. And I would like to let you know you will be able to probably have a better chance at winning the milking contest this year, because I will not be there either. We've got a little personnel glitch at my booth, so I'm going to be sitting at my booth at 6 o'clock on Monday, or 6 o'clock on Friday. One of those days, the day of the milking contest, I will be sitting at my booth. I will not be at the milking contest, so I'm sorry. Now, I'm done. Anybody else? Heck, one year I won it with a goat, so you know, you just never know what's gonna happen. Yeah. All right. I've got to run. Anything else? Mr. Shaw, do adjourn. Yeah.
By order of the chairman of the Washington Board of Supervisors, Robert and E. I declare this adjourned and stand adjourned until September 1850, which is our next regularly stated Tuesday. Unless specially convened, in which case timely notice.
They're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.